let's get the meeting underway.
Okay.
Meeting is underway. And would somebody like to volunteer to do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, Anne.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And would somebody like to do the four-way test? No?
I will.
Okay. Frank?
Of all the things we think, say, and do, is it the
The
truth?
truth.
Is it
Is
fair
it
to
fair to
all
all
concerned?
concerned?
Will it build goodwill
Will
in our
and
friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And
Will it be fun? All right, let's, before I introduce our guests today, let's have a moment of silence, please, for the people of Ukraine. Thank you. So I think for those of you who have just joined us in the last few minutes, we have our keynote speaker today, Isabella Garcia of Rise Against Hunger, and I'll be introducing her more later on. Hi, Isabella. She's got the Rise Against Hunger red hat on. And also joining us today is Dean Roberts, who is a past member and a longtime member of the Rotary Club of Hilton Head. He recently moved back to Massachusetts to Acton, and he's been visiting, or he's, I guess, going to be visiting various clubs. Are you starting with us, or have you already been to?
I'm started with you. I actually contacted. I contacted the Concord Club as well, but some things happened in the move. We just moved here on the holiday, and some things happened in the move that I haven't been able to attend one of their meetings. Their meeting via Zoom as well. But yeah, we're back in Massachusetts. We lived in Pittsfield for 20 years. Then we lived in South Carolina for 20 years, where I joined Rotary. And then we're back. Our son and daughter-in-law are in Somerville. And that's the main reason for our move. We wanted to get back closer to family.
Right.
We really like it in Acton. It's a really pleasant place to be. And we're still kind of in the process of moving. We're in a place right now that's too small.
Right.
We're getting into a bigger place next month. So I just thought I'd check out the clubs and see what y'all have been doing. Looks like from what I see on the website, you're participating in a lot of the same kind of things that the Hilton Head Club did. So I should feel right at home.
Well, so we're in competition with Concord, so we'll give it our best shot.
I'm closer to you guys though. So.
Oh, really? Yeah, exactly. You're just down the street.
Originally we were gonna actually move to Concord, and then that didn't work out. So we're in Acton now.
So I'll tell you what, when we return to in-person meetings, the commute would be much shorter for you, especially during the winter time and the snow and all of that.
You guys meet at the Regency, right?
Yeah, exactly. We
actually
resumed the meeting last fall, and then COVID spiked way back up again in Massachusetts. So we went back to Zoom meetings, and we're hoping to return to in-person meetings as of the end of this month.
Well, the same thing happened to us. We tried to go back to hybrid meetings in October of 2020, and then it hit again.
My gosh.
All right, thank you, Dean. Let me go to the invocation, and then we can start with the meeting. This is from Canadian Rotarian Sean Bird, author of Rotary Invocations. When we've been encircled by trauma, when we've been overwhelmed with grief, when we've seen the crush of horror, when we felt the villain's teeth, when we feared so long for safety, when we've doubted our beliefs, when we've been through so much turmoil, let us celebrate relief. Let us clasp our hands together. Let us look at what's beneath. Let us work to make society where kind respect is chief. Now, I was waiting for Marianne and or Carla to join us. And let me give a quick update on Bid for Brighter Future. Well, actually, let me hold it for, oh, there's Carla. Okay, right on cue. Thank you, Carla. Hi. We had just started the meeting and introduced Dean Roberts, who's a Rotarian who just moved from Hilton Head to Acton, and this is the first Rotary Club in this area. He's attending as a guest, and he's checking out other Rotary clubs as well to possibly join. And we also have with us our keynote speaker today, Isabel Garcia of Rise Against Hunger, who'll be speaking shortly. Now, can you hear us okay, Carla?
Yes.
Okay, so we're at the point now where we're just looking for an update on Bid for Brighter Futures, the funniest fundraiser around. And Carla Stover, along with Marianne Fleckner, are co-chairs of the planning committee for that event, which will take place on Friday, May 13th from 6 to 9 at the Boxborough Regency. Carla, you're on.
Hi, everyone. Sorry I had to be late. What changed from the last time? We're pretty much done finalizing some of the updates on all of our marketing materials, like flyers. Mark Ducci, thank you, Mark, is working on updating those flyers. Steve is working with Peter Hans, right? Which is
Ann's husband.
On the website, updates as well. So it's just pretty much finalized, right, Steve? You can speak more of that if there's any more. Do you know exactly the date when we expect that all to be done?
I'm hoping the latest version of the draft with corrections on it. This would be the flyer. Will be ready in another day or two. And
okay.
Hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have the website ready to go. Not the entire website, because there are certain pages, like the donor page is not ready to go yet because we don't have enough donations up there yet. That'll be on 32 auctions. That'll be on a separate site. And then I think we have some sponsors now, and if not, we'll wait to make that page live once we have 1 or 2 sponsors that we can show off.
Yeah. So the hotel obviously is sponsoring us, the Boxborough Regency, given us a lot of benefits, including a really very generous discount with the food. We're gonna have a pasta station as well as a fiesta, which is like Mexican food station, and along with coffee and dessert. So it definitely, they have been very, very generous, especially compared to what we got the last time, which we only had like a pizza and a little salad station at one of our last events. So very generous. They also have waived all the other fees in terms of like bartender, have a bartender available, in any other fees for the room, for renting the room. So we know this is definitely a great exchange here, a great trade with them. So now it's basically, we're pretty much ready to start calling sponsors, and that's where we need help. We're here today to ask every member of the club to commit to get 1 sponsor, and we all should be able to get at least 1 sponsor, right? So then we can really have a successful fundraising. And another thing that we need help with is for auction item donations. So if you have something, if you can donate a gift card from your business, or you just want to donate anything, maybe you got a gift from someone a long time ago and you just never used it and it's still in a box and it's a good item for us to offer. as an auction item, please consider donating to us, because we do need items. And that's actually a big priority right now, because we want to make sure that we update our website with all those items so we can hopefully start the auction early. We want to plan to start the auction before the actual event, so people can start bidding online before the date of the event. So those are the two asks. So we would like to know right now, like, who would be willing and able to commit to actually help us get at least one sponsor. So please, if you can just speak up and say your name, we would appreciate to hear from you, and please help us.
Let me just interject for just 1 second. We're starting with the sponsors that we did have last year. That's sort of like what they call the low-hanging fruit. So we're going to go to them and see if they're interested in being a sponsor at the same level, a higher level, or any level at all this year. And once we get through them, then we'll go to a much larger list we have that we also contacted many of last year. And either they said no or they didn't respond to us. So if whoever's interested, I can send you the spreadsheet with all, I think there are 15 or something like that. It has their contact name, their present contact name, phone number, email address, and what level they sponsored at last year. And the first thing you'd want to do is just find out who's the appropriate contact. Is it the marketing person? Is it the public relations person? If it's a small business, is it the owner and the CEO of the company, like a car dealership, for example? So that would be the first thing. Who's the right person to talk with? And then just hound them. Or at least make 2 or 3 calls. Yeah, Frank?
Yeah, Steve, could you send a spreadsheet?
Yes,
with
that's what we said.
top
Yep.
level sponsors, because the other one was a PDF and it's 72 pages.
Oh, really? Okay, so this time I'll send the actual spreadsheet. And then I'll also send the, I'll send you the link to the website, to the sponsors page, sponsor levels page, and that's updated. And then you can click on each of those levels and see what the benefits and values are for this year. So we've eliminated the $5,000 level because we had nobody doing that last year. We've so the top level this year is $2,500, and then we've moved the benefits from 5,000 up to 2,500, the benefits from 2,500 up to 1,000, back to 1,000, et cetera, et cetera. So when you're ready to call somebody and recite to them the benefit levels, go to that page. And we also have, I believe, a PDF that we can send as well with the sponsor levels.
And also, I want to add on to what Steve said. They will be able to sign up online, correct, Steve?
Yes.
So they won't need.
Oh, no, I take that back. We were originally trying to do it by by Google form, and we decided it was just too complex the way that Ann Hens is going to be handling it. So at least this year, we're going to continue with paper forms. She'll take the paper forms and enter that data into a spreadsheet. So that we'll have it for next year and also for this year to be able to track people. And then hopefully next year we can set up some kind of an electronic form where people can fill it out online. This is for both donors and sponsors, maybe 2 different forms. And that's much more user-friendly than Google Forms, and that we can then download the data right into a spreadsheet. So we don't have to do the hand entering of data. So this year, yes, it'll be a PDF you'll have to download, fill out, and then send back to us.
So it should be pretty easy. Like, it should be an easier process for them and also for us to keep track of, you know, the sponsors and anyone who's making a donation. We really like trying to just automate as much as the process as possible to kind of relieve us so we can hopefully focus more on the fundraising part of the event, right? So we can call sponsors, so we can ask for donations and do all the other pieces. So again, another ask, please help us. If you could commit, we would love for everyone to commit to at least one sponsor. Some of you can do more. I'm doing more than one, obviously, but we all should do at least one, and it should be easy. Like some ideas, like, you know, your former employer, if you're retired, your current employer, a company you do business with, right? That you're a customer, regular customer who you know well. Those companies, you know, and you know them. So it should be an easy call and just say, hey, we have this fundraising. It's going to benefit all these organizations here locally who support the Acton community. Can you help us? You know, and here are the levels of sponsorships that we have. Or if you're not comfortable sharing too much detail, as long as you get them interested, then you can kind of refer them, have one of us contact them, and we'll have the conversation and explain all the details. If you get that warm introduction, we'll take care of the rest.
Right.
Okay. It's just help us make the connection, at least if you're not sure how to sell the, you know, the sponsorships or so forth. We do. Just make the connection and we'll close the deal.
Right. So if you don't want to do the closing, you can be the opener, we'll be the closer.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So that's all I have. We're going to probably be scheduling another committee meeting for next week, because I figure like having this meeting and then another committee meeting, it's too much for 1 week. And plus, we really don't have much more to talk about. It's really now about starting the outreach, getting everybody committed to go after sponsors, and then just waiting for the final flyers and all the other marketing materials for us to really start reaching out to the sponsors, right? So it's pretty much ready. Then we have some final details that we'll probably discuss next week, things that we just need to prepare for. Okay?
And just a quick tactical question that I'll also bring up with the committee, but let me just get a sense of the room here. The spreadsheet that Frank was talking about, I can send you individually, all of you, the spreadsheet in Excel format, or we can load it up to Google Forms, and that way you can go in and say, I've grabbed this name and I'm working on it. And that way other people who go in later on will see that Steve or Carla or Marvin or Ann, for example, has already grabbed that name. Are people familiar, are you for the most part familiar with Google Drive and how to log in?
Was actually anyone not familiar?
Maybe that's a better way of putting it. Well, I'll send you, what I'll do is it's on our Google account. So I'll send you the link, the login for that. And then if you have an issue finding the spreadsheet, give me a call and I'll walk you through it. And then what you do is once you've opened up the spreadsheet, it's live. And then you just type in whatever you want to type in, including, you know, what the status of the contacts are so far, whether you've closed, whether it's still in progress. And then once you leave, somebody else can then go in there and all of your updates will be in there as well. So that's a much better, I think, way of doing it so that we don't have 5, 6, 7, 10 different spreadsheets going and everybody not knowing who's already been called or what the status of the calls is. Does that sound okay with everybody? All right, if you have a real problem with it, then I'll send you the spreadsheet through email. And then we'll just figure it out from there. Carla, anything else?
No, and aside from it, if when you look at a spreadsheet or the Google Forms that Steve is going to forward to everyone, it doesn't have to be I know that company you want to call might not be on that list. So feel free to just provide that name or just contact them and make the introduction. They just might not be there, right? Because we've never reached out to them. So like I said, you know, again, just help us. If you can just get one sponsor, if each member can get one sponsor, can commit to get one sponsor, will be very helpful to us, you know, and hopefully we'll have a very successful fundraising event, but we need help. We need help from everyone. So, and we'll be following up to about tickets. Tickets will be next, because obviously we want to sell tickets too. We do have an early bird discount that we'll share with everybody, hopefully at the next meeting. Actually, probably earlier, right, Steve? It will be on the website. The information will be there.
Yeah, the early bird is that if you buy a table of 8, rather than paying $400, which is $50 a seat, you'll pay only $350. So basically you get a $50 discount. If you buy a table of 8 by, I think it's April 15th.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the date. So anyway, we'll clarify that in the next day or two. And then after that, if you buy a table, then you can pay the full $400.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and then more details to come because we need to figure it out like when we need to close, right? Because we need to
Right.
give the final numbers by a certain time, which I'm not sure exactly what that date is. So we'll have a small window of time, like maybe 3 weeks max, it could be less, that we'll have to sell tickets and try to get as many people to buy the tickets at the discounted price, right? It is an
Right.
enticing way to get them to buy the tickets. So hopefully we'll have a successful, again, ticket sale as well, because it's a great show. You know, the magician, you know, Matt Roberts has also been awarded an Emmy, right? Steve, I know you're sharing, and I don't know if you've done that yet, but I know you're sharing some information about Matt. Is it included on the flyer?
It's in the flyer, that's correct.
Because again, he's, you know, we are really very excited for this show. We really think that it will be very successful and people will have a real good time at the event. So let's make it fun if you want. That's it.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's it.
Okay. Matt Roberts bills himself as a comedian magician. So he does both types of entertainment. And also he's a clean magician and comedian. So he's not going to be swearing up one side and down the other, as some of the prospects we listened to had been doing. And he also bills himself as a charismatic comedian and magician. So I'm not sure what exactly that means, but we'll find out. Hopefully he's very charismatic as a comedian and magician. So yeah, we'll get you more details and hopefully the website up and running in the next, by the end of this week or early next week. And I will send, once I get the latest draft from Mark Ducey, hopefully today or tomorrow, I'll send that out to everybody for your comments and feedback. And then we'll have him produce the final version with any other additions or corrections that we have to make. Let's see, any questions or concerns about the Bid for Brighter Futures report and status? Going once, going twice, okay. Thank you, Carla, for doing a fantastic job on co-chairing along with Marianne Fleckner this whole project, and we're making really good progress. And also a big thanks to Ann Hentz, who did a lot of the work last year to create the platform, the basement, if you will. This is like building a house. So last year the basement was built. This year we're building the first floor on a good solid foundation. And next year we can build the second floor with maybe more bells and whistles and fun stuff and more sponsors and more net profit and all that kind of stuff. So we'll take it 1 year at a time.
And Steve, that being said, if no questions from anyone, I really need to leave. I'm so sorry, but we're running really short staffed. So I just came in to provide the update because I knew Marianne wasn't able to attend. So I apologize, everyone, that I need to go.
All right. Thank
no
you.
more questions.
Nope. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Marvin, on the spreadsheet, you had a bunch of them from last year. Do you want to contact any of them this year, the same ones?
Yeah, I'll take a look at the spreadsheet and I will make contacts. Yep.
Great. So what I'll do is after this meeting, I'll send you the spreadsheet directly, and you can tell me which one. Just call me or email me and say I'll take these. And then when I upload it to Google, I'll just mark those as you haven't taken them. Thank you. I appreciate that. The next item is the status of our club's SMART, that's the specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timed strategic action plan. That's still in progress. Right after this meeting, a special combined boards meeting will take place to continue with that progress. We've identified 6 action items under the important urgent column. That's the putting out of fires. And that'll be stuff we have to do in the first say 3 to 6 months, 6 to 8, 9 months, whatever we decide is the timeline. Just to set the stage for the next set of things that are called stop setting fires, so fire prevention. So we're not going to even worry about all the other stuff. We're just going to worry about those 6 things that we've identified first. We prioritize them, and now we're deciding who's going to facilitate them, what resources are they need, when they need to start, what the deadline is, and how we're going to measure each one. Any questions about that? Okay, thank you. Before we go to the rest of the agenda, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Isabella Garcia of Rise Against Hunger. And Rise Against Hunger is going to be the beneficiary of a fundraiser that the Neshoba Valley Rotary Club is going to be doing on Saturday, April 9th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon at the Neshoba Regional High School. And so the proceeds, or at least the net proceeds, will be going to Rise Against Hunger. And this is a food packaging event. So I would encourage you to, I'm going to be joining them. Make sure you have your masks on, even if the governor says we don't have to wear them. And if you could just join even for an hour or so to help bag the foods, package them so that we can ship them off to Rise Against Hunger. So again, that's Saturday, April 9th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon at the Neshoba Valley High School. So our keynote speaker, Isabel Garcia of Rise Against Hunger. Welcome, Isabel. And you're muted, I think. So if you just want to,
I am not anymore. There we go.
Not anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I am just going to share my screen very quickly. I find that presentations are way better when we have some visual aid so that everybody can get a sense and an idea of what we're saying. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much, Steve, for your kind invitation, for having me over. And thank you for everyone who is here for allowing me to steal about 20 minutes of your time, just so that I can share with you a little bit more about Rise Against Hunger, about who we are, what our mission is, and how you can get involved. So with that, the way that I have the presentation set up is it's going to be a little bit of a game if you feel so inclined. So if you have your smartphones, feel free to go to that website that you see at the top of the screen, which is www.kahoot.it. Once again, if you have your smartphones handy or if you have a tablet, even if you wanted to open a new web browser in your computer, you're going to go to www.kahoot.it. Once you go into that web page, it's going to ask you for that game pin. I see that we already have a user logged in as Rotarians, which is fantastic. So once you put in that pin, it's going to ask you for your name, for your username that you are more than welcome to put in there. And if you want, I'm going to give everyone about 30 seconds for you to go ahead and join that webpage, www.kahoot.it. I see that Katerina has joined. Welcome, Katerina. Good to see you here. And once again, the game pin, it is at the top of the screen. So feel free to put that in there. If you're not joining right now and you're trying to get your devices, that is totally okay. That pin is going to stay on the screen for the duration of the presentation. So you're more than welcome to join at any point. So if it's okay with everybody, we can go ahead and get started. I see that it's going to be Katerina against Rotarians, which sounds kind of unfair.
Isabel, this says that we have to enter in a game pin number.
Yes, the game pin number is the one that is at the top of the screen. It's 483.
483
6509.
6509.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
483 6509. And once you put that pin in, it's going to ask you to type in your name. And once you type in your name and you join, your name will pop up in the middle of the screen for everybody to see.
Okay.
There we go.
Yay.
Good to see you.
Yes,
Welcome.
minimize
Welcome.
this
Welcome.
screen. And go back over.
I
to,
see that Anne is being very technologically savvy, and she's actually taking a picture of the QR code, which is very valid as well.
Oh,
That will allow you to just automatically have the pin put in there, and that way you can put your name in the screen. And like I said, if anybody else wants to join throughout the presentation, that game pin is going to be on the screen for the duration of the presentation. And welcome. So happy that you could join us. So I will go ahead and get started. First, I would like to, let me click here. Oh, Frank, very good, wonderful. Welcome, Frank. And here we go. We are going to get started. Welcome to everyone. And once more, thank you so much for having me. So,
and Irina, just 1 second. I just want to make sure, Bud, can you hear everything okay? Okay, thank you.
okay. All
All set,
right.
Irina, thank you.
Let's do a full screen. Can everybody hear me okay? Is the sound working properly? Wonderful. Thank
Yes.
you. Okay, so thank you. Once again, my name is Isabel Garcia, and I am super ecstatic to be here presenting this information and sharing this with all of you today. So we're going to start with a very quick and fun question. It's going to be a true or false. You've heard of us as in Rise Against Hunger, and you are familiar with the work that we do. So answer true or false. There is no wrong answer. Feel free to answer as honestly as you can. So let's give it a couple more seconds for answers in. And with that, fantastic. All 4 of you who joined the game have heard of Rise Against Hunger, and you're familiar with the work that we do. Welcome, 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 welcome back. It's good to see some new faces. I started working at Rise Against Hunger back in 2020. I started working mid-February, so it was about 3 weeks before the pandemic shut everything down. So it's been a roller coaster of a ride, to say the least. So fantastic. We have 0 points because this is not a competition. This is just for us to get to know each other. Once we're familiar with one another, we can do this game again and do it for points. I just don't want people fighting on our very first time meeting. I don't want to make it very awkward. So today's going to be just a friendly game. So
everybody wins today.
Exactly. Everybody wins. That's how we like it. So Rise Against Hunger, as you probably already know, we are an international hunger relief aid organization. And it's really just the way that it sounds, Rise Against Hunger. Our mission is that is driven by the vision of a world without hunger. It is our dream, it is our goal, it is the end game that we strive for, to see a world without hunger. And that can only be possible through the work and the commitment and the support of our partners, of our volunteers, of our donors. It is definitely something that is no small feat. And by all means, we all need to come together so that we can really affect change and so that we can really bring about change to those who need it the most. We are committed to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 2, which is ending hunger by 2030. Unfortunately, as you can probably imagine, in the past couple of years, life, the universe has thrown a few wrenches in our plans. We are not so confident that it's going to happen by 2030, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to try and that we're not going to give it our all. Rise Against Hunger was founded in 1998, and ever since we have distributed over 500 million meals and other critical aid to beneficiaries in over 78 countries. And last but not least, which is always a fun fact that we like to share with our Rotary partners, Rise Against Hunger was founded by Dr. Ray Buchanan, who is a United Methodist minister and an active Rotarian. So what do we do? Rise Against Hunger, wonderful. You're a global organization that wants to end hunger. How do you do that? Well, the first thing that we need to keep in mind is that Rise Against Hunger as a nonprofit, we want to first tackle remote last mile communities, what we call hunger pockets that are often overlooked by global media and other different types of organizations. And the reason for that is we just want to make sure that we're not leaving anyone behind. And just because a community, just because a country is not being covered by global media doesn't mean that they don't need the help, that they should not be worthy of an organization like Rise Against Hunger and volunteers such as yourselves coming together to fight hunger and to help the world's most vulnerable. So with that, the way that we go about it is through 4 different pathways, which we call the pathways to ending hunger, which I'm going to share with all of you in just a minute. And we work with local partners who are already in those communities. That is how we establish those connections. That is how we establish those relationships so that we are able to, whenever it's needed, ship out the aid that we send over to them so that they can receive it, distribute it, and ultimately be able to report on it so that we can share the information back with all our donors and supporters. So, like I mentioned, Rise Against Hunger goes about tackling the issue that is hunger through 4 pathways to ending hunger. The very first one, and these are in no particular order, they're not in an order of importance. This is just how we listed them. Empowering communities, that is the very first one, which is increasing self-sufficiency through the promotion of agricultural development, business skills, training, and market access. What that means is, as you will learn in just a few seconds, we conduct these events that Steve mentioned earlier in the call, where we have volunteers come together and they package meals that get boxed, and then they get assigned to a container and they get shipped to any of the communities that we serve. But as we probably know, that is just the first step of fighting hunger, because ending hunger is not just about putting food in your belly. It goes beyond that. It's about education. It's about access to resources. It's about having the proper tools to become sustainable. And that is how empowering communities comes into play here, because we work with those communities to help them become sustainable and to help them grow their own ingredients, their own food, enhance their economies, and be able to become independent from the aid that they are receiving from the outside. Number 2 for our pathways is nourishing lives, which is, like I mentioned, very commonly, it's one of our top engagement opportunities that people just love and they have so much fun doing, which is the meal packaging events, the meal packaging experiences. And that is how we're able to support nutrition-based safety with programs that provide education, training, and opportunities. We work a lot with school feeding programs in the communities that we serve. And that is because a lot of times in those communities, families feel the pressure of needing to work so that they can provide for their families. And a lot of times families are forced to take their young children out of school so that they can go into the workforce, so that they can help provide funds for the family. So through us working with school feeding programs, we are able, it's like a twofold type of effort, because that way we are encouraging families to keep their kids in school, because at the school is where they're going to receive these nutritious hot meals. And that way kids will be able to stay in school so that they can continue learning and continue getting an education, so that ultimately we can also help break the cycle of poverty. Our third pathway is responding to emergencies, by distributing food and aid to victims of natural and or man-made disasters and crises. The most recent example that I can provide with all of you, as we know, there's a situation going on, a situation unfolding in Ukraine due to the invasion of Russia. And that is really a huge deal. That is the most recent current event situation that we have found ourselves engulfed with. And I'm sure that if you're anything like me, you've been obsessively reading about it in the news, trying to stay on track, trying to see what all the updates are. And that is very important for everyone. So Rise Against Hunger, we are working with our Italy partner. We have a Rise Against Hunger Italia, and they are taking the lead of gathering goods that they are able to provide to Ukraine refugees who are trying to leave the country. We are going to specifically be working with partners in Romania and Poland. So our marketing team is this very week working with Rise Against Hunger Italia so that we can put together some communications that we can send out. So if you or anybody you know might be interested in aiding the Ukraine crisis, please stay tuned. I will definitely send an update for everybody to stay updated. Last but not least, we have our pathway number 4, which is growing the movement. And that basically means what you're doing here today, allowing me the time to come over, share with you a little bit about Rise Against Hunger, share with you a little bit about our mission, who we are, what we do, how we go about fighting hunger. Become a hunger champion. After you leave here today, feel free to let anyone know about what Rise Against Hunger is. If anyone is passionate about the fight against hunger, let them know about us. Send them my information. I will be very happy to connect with all of them. All right, now we've come to a question. It is a single select. And the question is, how excited are you to partner with Rise Against Hunger and get involved in the fight against hunger? So this is a multiple choice. Feel free to pick more than one answer. And once you've done that, make sure that you submit your answers. We have about 4 seconds left in this question before we get our results and we see what people have chosen for this question. All right, I see that 2 people are really excited. 1 person is super excited. 1 person is beyond excited. And 1 person is over the moon. I think
you can put me down as super excited, but I left the online version because I thought we weren't going to have any more questions. So you can add me
we're going to have a couple more.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, we'll go back on again.
They're gonna be a couple more throughout. Oh no, please, okay. That's totally fine.
All right.
I'm just happy that we're all on the same page and that we're at least any one variation of excited to be joining the fight against hunger and to partner with Rise Against Hunger. So it seems that Rotarians are doing fantastically well. They're in first place and they're tied with Katarina, with Steve JD, with Anne and Frank. Since everybody's getting 0 points, we're just doing it for bragging rights. So I think that everybody's crushing it so far. So when we dive in a little further into our empowering community, into our pathways to ending hunger, we wanted to add a few slides that provided some additional information about what each pathway is. So I am not going to just stand here and read the slide out loud to you. Feel free to just check out the information whenever you get a chance. I understand that, Steve, you will be able to share this recording with the club. So I think that this is a good way for everybody to get a little bit more information so that we can all have a little bit better understanding of what Rise Against Hunger does and what our pathways to ending hunger are.
And if you'd like, Irene, if you send me the PowerPoint presentation, if that's what this is, I can upload it. And then when we post this video of you presenting on YouTube, I can add a link to that presentation.
Fantastic.
In case anybody wants to download it. Obviously, they'll see it on the screen, but in case they want to download it too.
Sounds good. That's great. Yeah, and that way people can have access to that information. They want to go whenever they want to go back to it and refer to it. By all means, that is greatly appreciated. So here we have a little slide on Nourishing Lives. Like I mentioned, that is just the first step to providing the aid that we provide our beneficiaries. And like I mentioned already, we do work a lot with school feeding programs because that is just a way that we can try to tackle the issue that is hunger through different fronts. Responding to emergencies. There are many ways that we can come together to respond to emergencies, such as donations, because with the donations, what we're able to do with those funds is we can use them for local procurement. And what that means is that we can work with our in-country partners to purchase goods and food right there in the countries and in the communities where our partners are, just because it would take away from the whole process, the putting together a shipment to be able to send it over, which that could take a little bit. So definitely through donations, that is the quickest, most direct and easiest way to support our responding to emergencies pathway.
So Isabel,
here we go. Here's another question.
Okay.
True or false? You want to join our Growing the Movement pathway and become a hunger champion. Now, I will say, even though I know that this is all for bragging rights, and I usually say there is no right or wrong answer, I will be very sad if anybody gets the wrong answer to this question. So a couple of seconds left. Let's see what everybody has said so far. Perfect. So everybody said true. I am very happy about that. And I am very grateful for your support and for giving me your time today. Rotarians, Katerina, Steve, Ann, and Frank are still in first place. So that is very impressive. I cannot wait to see until we do this game again and we do it for actual points. So now, moving on and speaking, yes.
If you could wrap up in about 5 minutes and maybe we can have Q&A because we started the meeting late. I'd like to try to get it done by 1:30 because people may have schedules that require.
Not a problem. I don't think I have 5 minutes left. I think I may have 2 or 3 at most.
Okay, thank you.
So when we jump into a little bit more specifically, their relationship between Rise Against Hunger and Rotary International, because we do work with a lot of groups, we're going to jump into a question here very quickly. I'm going to test your Rotary knowledge here. What are the 4 basic human needs the Rotary Club of Action-Boxborough focuses on? And this is all information that I took directly from your website. So it is all updated and it is all accurate. About 3 seconds left. Let's see what everybody has said. Okay, fantastic. So no answer was a wrong answer. So any answer that you chose, that is one of the 4 basic human needs, which is the correct answer. Now, when we move on to the rest of the presentation, just a little recap of what our relationship has been throughout the years. So far, Rotarians have packaged more than 30 million meals with Rise Against Hunger, and that is incredible. That is massive. 5 Rotary districts have completed 1 million meal projects, and what this means is we work with different hosts when they want to come together, and it'll be 1 million meals being packaged on one day, which is fantastic. Rotary currently has a goal of 250 million meals by 2030, which I think you're well on your way to completing. And will your club or district be next? We have some of the benefits for partnering with Rise Against Hunger as a Rotary Club, as you can see them outlined in this slide. The first one is obviously collaboration, partnership, communication. Those are so incredibly important. They can work as a membership building event because we can invite people from around the community, and that will give you an opportunity to target different volunteers so that they can join your Rotary Club and continue building community. And as you can see, there are many more. They're family friendly, fun and heartwarming, and they definitely transform the lives of the volunteers and the beneficiaries. One more question.
Any questions?
Let's see here.
And now you're a charitable nonprofit?
Yes, we're a nonprofit. We're a 501c3.
So
absolutely.
You can take a tax deduction, for example.
Yes.
If we donate, okay.
Steve,
Yes.
if I could just interject a little something here, because District 7770 has participated in a number of Rise Against Hunger programs, one of them at the district conference, where we packaged 60,000 meals as part of the district conference. The 4 clubs in South Carolina have used it as one of their community service day projects. And a couple of times we've packed in excess of 20,000 meals as part of a project. I think we began in 2019. It was before the pandemic. We started with this before the pandemic, and it's a fantastic project. You can get the whole community involved. It's especially good for involving your Interact clubs if you have Interact clubs. And I assume this one may be associated with Interact since it's being done at Neshoba. So, I mean, I could just encourage, it's just a fantastic project for a club to participate in.
Just to clarify, I believe the Neshoba Valley Club has an Interact club, but they're working with the school's honor society. So I forgot to put that in, but that's who will also be participating on April 9th.
Yes.
Any other questions about Rise Against Hunger and about the event on April 9th? And if you could, please either let me know, just send an email to me that you're willing to volunteer, the times you're willing to volunteer. Again, the whole thing goes from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. If you can only do an hour or so of that, let me know, and then I'll pass that information on to the folks at Neshoba Valley who are organizing this event. Isabel, thank you very much. A big round of applause for Isabel, or
Thank you
two
again
thumbs
so much
up.
for having me. It's been such a pleasure. And please, if anyone is interested in connecting further, feel free to ask Steve. He has all my information, and I will be super happy to connect with all of you. Thank you again for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us. And you can stay on for the rest of the meeting if you'd like. We've got a couple of items here. Any other news, information, comments, ideas, questions, concerns? No? Okay. Going once, going twice. And we have happy sad finds. So any happy sad finds today?
See. Well, I'll put in a $1 happy fine for the weather this week, and looking forward to that long promised 70 degrees on Friday. And another $1 for our two guests this week. Isabel, thank you very much. And Dean, a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you all.
And I'll do $1 each for Dean and Isabel for joining us today and being our guests, and for Isabel being our keynote speaker, and also $10 for the people of Ukraine. That's a happy $1 and sad $1, because they're giving the other side holy hell, hopefully. Any other happy sad finds? Okay. We don't have a ticket raffle because we're online, no card pick again because we're online. Any other business that you'd like to discuss, or an idea that you'd like to raise before we go, including Dean? Do you have any thoughts you'd like to share?
Well, I've really enjoyed attending your meeting, and I'm looking forward to learning more about the club. And it's, as I said, sounds like home.
Great. All right. We're looking to load you up with work once you become a member. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, unfortunately, that's always been the case. You know, I was stupid enough to volunteer when somebody asked me if I would chair the district conference one year.
Ooh,
that was the last time I made that mistake.
yeah.
Well, that's like when people ask me, how did you become president of this club? I said, I forgot to lower my hand. Okay, so let's close with the words of wisdom. Peace is not only better than war, but infinitely more arduous. And those are the famous words of George Bernard Shaw. So on that note, we'll close the meeting, and thank you everybody for joining us.